being deprived of an opportunity to campaign on the same basis as the ruling Patriotic Front has the potential to undermine the integrity of the electoral process. The Commission has also called for compliance with the international and regional human rights law and the provisions of the Constitution of Zambia in prohibiting any form of discrimination.
The Human Rights Commission is calling for a peaceful environment before, during, and after the 12th August 2021 elections. We also call for, fair and non-discriminatory application of the Public Order Act and the guidelines related to COVID-19. The Commission is making this advisory statement in view of the continued discriminatory manner in which public gatherings are being regulated, clearly targeting restrictions on the opposition political parties and their candidates. This is against international, regional, and national laws relating to prohibition of discrimination, in this case based on one's political opinion or affiliation. We call upon the government to adhere to the advisory opinion of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, which was issued on 16th July, that all member states of the African Union should refrain from imposing restrictions on rights that tend in practice to advantage the ruling party or the incumbent in terms of campaigning during the COVID-19 restrictions to the disadvantage of the opposition political parties and the candidates. International human rights law entails that restrictions must be non-discriminatory, must serve a legitimate purpose, and that they should not undermine the core.
The Zambia Institute of Independent Media Alliance, ZIMA, has expressed concern over the reported closing of the mass newspaper publication yesterday. ZIMA President Jaja Coulibaly says the headline in the said publication has the potential to draw the media house into unnecessary conflict with the opposition United Party for National Development UPND and its party president Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Coulibaly has since accused the ruling Patriotic Front PF-led government for being behind the closure of the mass newspaper, stating that the PF are desperate in winning this year's general elections.
We have observed with much regret the reported cloning of one of Zambia's leading privately owned newspapers, The Mast, by suspected PF agents to suit their appetite for toxic hate speech. The said publication under headline HH is a Satanist has potential to draw the media house into unnecessary conflict with the UPND and the party president Mr. Hakainde Hichilema in person. We realize that most politicians from the PF have no agenda and message in this campaign. They have tried to muzzle the media and now they have started cloning newspapers. They did this to news diggers within this year and circulated it online. And now they have moved to The Mast. So we wonder which private newspaper they will target next. This is absurdity that deserves a strong reprimand. Even with a disclaimer from The Mast and clearly stating that that publication is not theirs, some non-PF surrogates have continued to circulate the illegality on social media platforms. The worst is that they even went to the extent of printing the same cloned publication in hard copy, which they distributed in selected parts of Lusaka and the Copper Belt. And so now this is why we agree with The Mast that the charlatans must clone their own publications. It's indeed a shame that the ruling party can go to such levels after sensing an impending heavy defeat in elections.
Opposition New Congress Party NCP has urged Zambian citizens to refrain from degrading the development the ruling Patriotic Front PF has brought in the country, stating that the ruling party in government has helped in developing the country more than the previous regimes. NCP President Pastor Peter Chanda has also called on citizens to unite as the country heads towards the election day, stating that it is vital to implement the peace preached by the late founding president Dr. Kenneth Kaunda and the forefathers.
How has this government managed to cure thousands of people that have been discharged with COVID-19 situation? We have contained the COVID-19 death rate to 3,000 something from the time it started, both from the first wave up to now. This government has built hospitals and they've built clinics. They've elevated clinics to mini hospitals in Lusaka. Lusaka has been transformed. The government is not contracting any more of the loans. All projects, they are coming under PPP, private-public partnership arrangements. I want to state this. PF has done better than any other government that has ever governed this country. Because just in the road sector, they've done over 15,000 kilometers, while UNIP government in 27 years did 9,000, while MMD only did 2,000 kilometers. So I want to state that President Edgar Chagwarungu is also building the National House of Prayer, Christians in the country. As we go towards the polls, let's be united as Zambians, peace-loving Zambians. Let's remember Dr. Kenneth Kaunda fought for the independence that we have. What we have.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy, ANDD, has expressed disappointment in foreign observers for not condemning the political violence witnessed across the country. ANDD Executive Director Samuel Banda says violence can only end when the collective political stakeholders, which include the foreign observers, put in efforts to curb the violence in the country. Mr. Banda has further called on the foreign observers to be neutral, impartial, and fair in their conduct and execution of their duties.
Unfortunate, but we believe that violence can only end with the collective responsibility of different stakeholders. That includes the foreign observers. And we believe the foreign observers are key stakeholders in our electoral process. Yes, it is our call that the foreign observers, they should not take sides. They should not only take sides and seem to be supporting other political parties or the opposition political parties. We have noted that on so many occasions, American ambassador, British ambassador, they have taken time to condemn the government and accusing the government of not giving the opposition leaders freedom to do their political activities. Yes, it is our surprise, it is our disappointment that they haven't taken time to condemn the pockets of violence being perpetrated by the opposition. If we are to have free and fair elections, every stakeholder, including the foreign observers.
You are still watching Main News on the Finest Television. We take our first set of commercials. Join us after the break.
Time, the progression of events from the past to the future, moving forward to see what the future holds and what can be achieved. Zambia has limitless potential that has to be cultivated by every Zambian, giving each person a chance to succeed in their own respective society. Time has come to restore the hope that many Zambians have lost. Time to repair the patience that many Zambians have showed. The time for the long-awaited change, bringing more jobs, prosperity, and economic emancipation to our beloved country, Zambia. Vote Harikalava for president. This message is brought to you by the Democratic Party.
Indulge yourself in all the best entertainment on Topstar. For affordable Topstar monthly subscription of 135 kwacha antenna classic or 140 kwacha dish smart, bring your family together and enjoy the best of Star Life and catch the live football action on ESPN to meet up with Zambia's finest in the Scottish and Dutch leagues. Also, don't miss the kickoff to Spanish La Liga on August 13th on Sports Premium. That's not all. Sample our wide range of family entertainment with all the best Filipino series, the intriguing local drama series, plus kids content such as DreamWorks, ST Kids with great cartoon characters. So grab yourself a Topstar antenna full kit or dish full kit now and be part of the fan. Topstar, affordable TV for all.
Thank you so much for still joining us. We continue with the main news. Youths based in Lusaka have advised their peers in Zambia to unleash and utilize their talents in order to create relevance in the country. Vincent Habasimbi says creating relevance for oneself will help in the fight for economic challenges and socially connect to the Zambian environment. He has urged youths in the country to be innovative and do away with depending on the government for job creation. Meanwhile, Pillars of Peace organization has continued advocating for democracy, peace building, social and economic stability in the country as a way of promoting unity. They have further urged youths in the country to turn up in numbers on the polling day in order to exercise their constitutional right and choose the leader of their choice to govern the country.
I would actually advise you to follow your dreams. And following your dreams, it doesn't mean that you need to have a PhD, you need to have a degree or a master's or anything like that. You just need to start from where you are right now. Me, I'm a student, but I've actually written 2 books. So it doesn't really matter how old you are. Age is just a thing of the mind. As long as you don't mind it, it doesn't matter. That you won't be able to compete yourself with others. We all know that depression is as a result of you comparing yourself to others. But when you start being yourself, you notice that my friend can be an author, I can also be an author, the other guy can be an author. Then us put together, we make the country, we make the community.
Advocates for democracy, peace building, social and economic stability. As an organization, we've been sensitizing our fellow youths out there to refrain from being used as tools of political violence.
Numbers, even as the elections are going to be held on 12th August, and make sure to cast your vote. But always remember to uphold peace, because we as youth should not be used as tools of political violence. We are one Zambia, one nation.
Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kapichimpanga, has urged Indian manufacturers to consider Zambia as their safest destination for investment. Mrs. Kabijimpanga says Zambia looks forward to attracting investors from approximately 600 paper mills in India, which have 12 major players. She says there was need for more producers and converters of products such as printing, fine and writing papers, among others. This came to light when she addressed manufacturers at the inaugural session of the 3P India-Africa Virtual International Expo 2021, focusing on paper, packaging, plastic and printing. Mrs. Kapichimpanga says demand is high to print products such as newspapers, books, business forms and other materials to perform support activities such as book binding, plate making and data imaging.
Zambia has a stable political system and a thriving private sector. Investment guarantees and securities. We have abundant natural resources, attractive investment incentives, and we have access to regional, wider Africa, European Union, and USA markets.
You are still watching Main News on the Finest Television. We take our second set of commercials. Join us after the break.
My name is Harry Kalawa. I am the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in this year's elections. Zambia as a country has been divided and polarized along regional lines. Today, we are more divided than we were in 1964 when we got our independence. There is no need to ask somebody's tribe in this country. What is required now is to look out for the character in people. Look out for the best in individuals. Because once we fish out the best in individuals, then Zambia as a country will emancipate. We wish you the very best and hope that on the 12th of August, you and I and the Democratic Party will make a date. I thank you and may God bless you.
Giving birth to my firstborn son was a challenge, not because of maternal complications, but because the health center was so far away. Today, the newly built health center is only meters away. So with my second born, it was so much easier. My aunt and my best friend were even there to witness her birth. As a mother, access to antenatal and postnatal health care is a priority. That is why I commend the PF government for bringing quality health care near our homes.
Welcome back, and now in foreign news. Afghan forces and the Taliban were fighting fiercely Sunday in the center of Kunduz, officials and residents said, after the insurgents captured two other provincial capitals in the last 48 hours. The fall of the northern city would be a major blow for the central government, which has largely abandoned fighting in the countryside to defend urban centers against Taliban attacks. For more on this story, we monitored France 24.
Forced to flee their homes, families crowd in a disused school. In the town of Asadabad in Kunar province in the east of the country, they are among thousands of people reported to have fled.
اګولې د قشانتي لګیدي زما وړه ماشومه لور وکالنه هغه تلې و د سارا ته وتی و هغه په غډزو دغه کې موږ نه د قشان پاتې شو هیڅ پته وسه پورې نه لګي نه هغه ماشومه بمړی ژوندۍ به هیڅ پته نه لګي وسه پورې.
Since Friday, 2 provincial capitals have fallen to the insurgents. Sheberhan in Jozdan and Zaranj, the capital of Nimroz province. A local Nimroz official blamed Kabul.
از هر طرف تهدید بود نیمروز و نیمروز ما صداهای خود را بالا کرده بودیم. اتنا قوتی به او رقم نبود در نیمروز. در چندین سال بسیار تشکیل پلیس، اردو و سرحدی بسیار کم بود.
Much of the countryside has fallen to the militant group since May as foreign troops left. Washington maintains that withdrawal of its forces was the correct decision after 20 years of conflict. The US pullout will be complete just ahead of the 20th anniversary of the...
And finally, in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has maintained that Young Green Eagles have been relegated as the disciplinary committee earlier ruled. This now implies that Indeni have survived and will play Super League football next season. Meanwhile, FAZ spokesperson Sidney Mungala has clarified that the 2021-2022 MTN Super League season that was scheduled to commence on August 21 has been postponed to a later date in September due to the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. Well, that sporting item brings us to the end of today's edition of Main News on KBN Television. But before we go, we'll take a quick recap of stories that made headlines. The Human Rights Commission calls for peace ahead of the August pause. Zima saddened by the closure of the Mast newspaper. New Congress Party urges citizens to refrain from degrading the ruling PF. Chaos as Taliban try to take key Afghan city of Kunduz. FAZ postpones 2021-2022 MTN Super League. That ends tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the entire newsroom team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening, God bless, and pleasant evening.